I've seen a lot of people that are like, I don't even know one Black Sabbath song, but R.I.P. Ozzy. Like, you have to be trolling. There's no way you don't know. You've never heard one, even just one Ozzy Osbourne song
on a commercial,
just Black Sabbath.
on a commercial.
Yeah.
Crazy Train,
Crazy Train. Yeah, exactly.
Iron Man.
Yeah,
right.
You've never heard of you don't know the Iron Man riff.
His Spotify like bio, Ozzy's Spotify bio is like something about along the lines of, this is Ozzy Osbourne, and if you don't know who I am, then which rock are you living under, or something. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't have like a whole long like
pedigree
paragraph about who he is. It's just like, this is me. You know,
not only was he, you know, the singer of the most important metal band ever,
yeah,
but he was also had a incredible solo career. He's one of the only people I think that's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. And he was a reality TV star.
Yep.
I've been watching some of those old Osbournes, and it's like, he was incoherent back then.
Yeah. Have you seen that clip where he's like, someone's been in my room and gone in my fridge and taken one of my beers?
You know, I heard
she's like, you're the beer thief, honey.
I heard Jack Wilde talking about Ozzy, and what I always, it's so amazing is that Zach said, you know, Ozzy was like this guy who would, like, they would roll him in a wheelchair, and then, you know, 3 rolls of duct tape and 6 tubes of super glue later, he's out on stage, the frontman of his band.
So earlier this week, Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi talked to BBC Midlands about the death of his bandmate, Ozzy Osbourne, the guitarist who co-founded Sabbath with Ozzy. Bassist Geezer Butler and drummer Bill Ward in 1968 said, it's been difficult because it's just a shock, really. I haven't been able to get myself organized properly since hearing this. It's been really strange. Iommi went on to say that Butler was experiencing similar emotions when they spoke following Osbourne's death. He's much the same. You just can't pull yourself together. It has really affected us bad. When the interviewer noted that Iommi had lost his friend, Tony said, yes, and that is devastating. I find it difficult at the moment to really accept that. I still think he's here. I still go to text him and stuff. He's not there anymore. It's really weird, and I think that's going to take a long time because it's like losing a brother. Asked what a fitting tribute to Ozzy would be, Tony said, I don't know. You know, you could say a statue or a figure, but I think also the band should have something like that, because we've all been a team and we're all going to go at some point. But I think that'd be a thing, probably a statue. I can't think what else. I think he'd be happy that everyone remembers him and everybody loves him and everybody's come out like they have. In a separate interview with ITV News, Iommi said it was a shock for the other members of Sabbath to find out Ozzy had died. I mean, when I heard on Tuesday, it couldn't sink in, Tony said. I thought it can't be. I only had a text from him the day before. It just seemed surreal, and it really didn't sink in. And in the night, I started thinking about it. God, am I dreaming all this? But as I said before, he's not looked well through the rehearsals. And I think he really just held out to do that show. I really feel, me and Geezer were talking about it last night, that we think he held out to do it. And just after that, he's done and said goodbye to the fans. And that was the end of it, really. When the interviewer noted that playing one of the final concerts in Sabbath's original hometown of Birmingham meant everything to Ozzy, Tony concurred. Oh, he's built up to it for a while now. He's been sort of training and trying to do what he can so he could do this gig, so he could do it. And that's really what he wanted to do. I think he must have had something in his head that said, well, this is going to be it. It's the last thing I'm ever going to do. Whether he thought that he was going to die or what, I don't know. But he really wanted to do it, and he was determined to do it. And fair dues, he's done it. On that topic of what it meant to all the members of Sabbath to be together in Birmingham with Ozzy out there in front, around the corner from where they all grew up, Tony said, it was really moving. I think we all felt like, wow. And again, it was almost like a dream. Before you know it, we're off stage and we're thinking, what happened? So yeah, anyway, that's it for the Tony Iommi piece. But
I still wonder, like, obviously he's an older guy, but I'm wondering like what the cause of death was for Ozzy Osbourne, because I don't know. It could have been a number of things, but I also, not anonymous source, heard that he might have ended his own life in a medical way, like in New Zealand or something. Like, you can take your own life medically. They'll let you like do whatever it's called. Canada too. Yeah, like certain states.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't believe that really when I first heard it. And then I started hearing things like, or watching old interviews with Sharon and Kelly.
Yeah.
And them saying he was in a ton of pain. And even he posted on his blog, he was like, like Sharon did that show so he had something to look forward to, because she was like, he was really depressed because he couldn't use his body anymore. And you have to give the guy fucking credit for what, like, how he pulled that off. Like he actually got up there and sang in that fucking wheelchair and did the last two.
And you can see like, so many times he like wants to stand up, but he just can't. Like
he wants to throw water on people and shit like that.
Yeah, he wants to show his naked ass.
Or clap,
bite a bat's head off.
Give you a brown eye. That's his like most famous fucking move. And I always went, really, Ozzy?
Do we have to do that?
Out of all the stuff you have to do, you have to give us a brown eye. Really? What the fuck?
I mean, you guys know my number one question is, how did Nuno Betancourt get there?
He's been wondering this for a while.
I've been wondering that for a while.
I was like, Eric, what? Don't stop disrespecting Nuno.
I'm not. Okay? I love Nuno, but I'm just wondering why he was there.
I'm sorry. Is this the Ozzy?
Yeah, the Ozzy tribute.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll go watch it.
Oh man, dude. Honestly, I think the best tribute show ever, probably in history. But like, Tool's performance was killer. Oh my god, and Tool.
Oh, Tool. Yeah, Tool was awesome.
Did they do Hand of Doom right?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Great. Yes.
It's awesome. My god, I'm about to hang up and go watch it right now,
dude. Well, so they're going to. Supposedly they're going to release
slab a song. That's all there is to it.
Oh, it's so good. And then Lamb of God did Children of the Grave, and Metallica did some deep cuts like Johnny Blade.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that song. And I know a lot.
Well, then they had these
Black Sabbath.
Johnny Blade is from, I think it's from Never Say Die, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
it's from
God.
Yeah. But what's really crazy about that show too is they had these like super bands, and that's what you got to see with like Tom Morello and Billy Corgan and fucking dude Chad Smith and Travis Barker were like had a drum off,
and Danny Carey.
And Danny Carey, God. Yeah. Oh, it was incredible.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna as soon
as Nuno Betancourt was there, and we couldn't figure out
why. Eric was disrespecting Nuno. He's like, "Why is Nuno Betancourt there?" And I'm like, "Dude, how dare you?"
I love the dude. I think he's amazing. I just don't know why he was there.
He was chilling.
He's the sit-in for Randy Rhoads.
Okay.
Because Zach's playing with Ozzy.
Okay.
And he's a very talented guitar player.
I'm sorry. Randy's a great guitar player, but you know, I'm a huge Randy Rhoads fan. Don't get me wrong, and I know better than to diss Randy Rhoads. I'm not doing that, but he certainly lost. I mean, Randy was such a sadness for all of us, and then a guy like Zakk Wylde shows up, and you think, how could anybody even come close? And yet Ozzy, that's what I think, that's the sheer genius of Ozzy.
He was a genius. Like, he picked the best bands.
Hold on.
And they loved
Let me say this. Ozzy was like the metal James Brown.
Yeah. He really was.
He put together the fucking Mike Borden, Robert Trujillo, fucking the best players.
Jake E. Lee. God,
dude,
just one after
another. Zakk Wylde, I have to.
Let's just say the other three that he did: Bill Ward, Tony Iommi, and Geezer Butler. I mean, my God, they all loved Ozzy because of what he brought to the table. My nephew Kenny, my oldest brother's oldest son, was 5 years older than me, and so whenever I went to Fortuna, California, he always had the coolest cars. And when I went there when I was 13 years old, he had a 1968, it was a 68 or 69 Pontiac Le Mans convertible. And it had an 8-track in it with 5.5-inch round speakers in the door. I remember that day because I heard 3 bands that changed my life forever. First one was Kiss. We bought that one. I'll tell that story another day. The second one was David Bowie, Aladdin Sane. And the third one was Black Sabbath, Paranoid. And I will never, ever forget the moment that he plugged the Black Sabbath tape in. I'd listened to Alice Cooper prior to that, and I loved Alice Cooper. But when I heard Black Sabbath for the first time, that was a milestone. that I will never forget, because musically they were exactly who I loved.
It's crazy. I've been listening to like, I went back and listened to like the first 5 Sabbath records, and it's just like,
oh,
they're just classic albums.
And there's not a bad
back
song on any of them.
Yeah, they're like 5 in a row, just like
Right.
like the self-titled Paranoid, Volume 4,
Masters of
Sabotage.
Reality.
Master of Reality is the one I forgot.
Sabotage, and don't forget Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
I was about to say that's one of my
Sabbath,
favorites. Bloody Sabbath.
Yes.
Oh,
Fuck. That's the one I always forget, and it's one of the ones I love the most because it has
Yeah.
that fluff instrumental on it.
right,
Yep.
right. It's funny because I've heard Zach talk about it. That's one of the things that we share in common is our favorite album. I don't get me wrong. To say a favorite for Black Sabbath is difficult because I love them all, you know. But my favorite album is Sabotage and the song The Thrill of It All. And it just so happens I heard Zach Wilde talking about it. And I know I'm kind of alone in that because not as many people feel that way about Sabotage as I do. I always just thought Sabotage
Sabotage,
was
it's what is it called? Symptom of the Universe on it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
the Rit, killing yourself,
Hole in the Sky.
Yeah, but The Thrill of It All is the song on that album that just, to me, just epitomizes what I love about Black Sabbath.
Well, let's plow through another member of Black Sabbath's Bill Ward. A lot of people were giving him shit for being shirtless at the concert because he didn't give a fuck. He's just like, fuck it, dude.
Care?
Fucking 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
What the fuck I care?
Yeah.
I got all the money I ever want.
He's like,
What the
yeah.
fuck?
I fucking created heavy metal, you cunts.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you're listening to your goddamn Annie's Okay album, just remember who fucking created that band.
Yeah. Prior to last week's death of Black Sabbath singer Ozzy Osbourne, Sabbath drummer Bill Ward reflected on the band's final concert in an interview with Mike Stark of the LA Radio Sessions show, which airs Sundays in Long Beach. I asked what determined Sabbath's set list for Back to the Beginning concert on July 5th at Villa Park in Birmingham, UK. Bill said, "Good question. I think it was a common denominator of what we thought we might be able to play. There was a couple of songs that we tried. It didn't quite work out. I can think it was about finding the most popular songs. Actually, popular is not a very good word because there's probably a lot of songs that are popular. Definitive. Yeah, let's go with definitive as being the most definitive songs that work for all of us being the band members." Asked what his feelings were once the final note was played in Birmingham. Bill said, "My feeling at that point was really to get off the drum riser. Really, that's what I was thinking about, to see if Ozzy was okay. That's what I was thinking about, and making sure Geezer and Tony are heads up. And then I wanted to see the audience, so I went out and applauded the audience. So that's what was on my mind. And I looked behind me, and my family was there, and I applauded my family and people that were around me on stage. I had a lot of staff members there, and I applauded them. So it's just about basically honoring the people that had been listening. That's exactly what I was doing. It wasn't really anything that was deep or mature or anything. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. There was a lot of musicians there that I know, and I was applauding them as well. I love them very much. As you know, we've had our radio show for many, many years, so we've met a lot of artists. So let's plow through Geezer, and then we'll chat a little bit more here. So Geezer had to say, here's what Geezer had to say. Nobody knew he'd been gone from us He'd be gone from us a little more than 2 weeks after the show. On July 5th, Butler reunited with fellow original Black Sabbath members Ozzy Osbourne and bassist Geezer Butler and drummer Bill Ward for the massive Back to the Beginning concert, which is being billed as Sabbath's final live performance as well as Ozzy's last ever show. Just over 2 weeks later, on July 22nd, Ozzy's family announced he had died at the age of 76. Regarding what it was like to rehearse with Ozzy for Back to the Beginning, Geezer wrote, "I knew he wasn't in good health, but I was prepared to see how frail he was. I wasn't prepared to see how frail he was. He was helped into the rehearsal room by 2 helpers and a nurse. He was using a cane. Being Ozzy, the cane was black and studded with gold and precious stones. He didn't really say much beyond the usual greetings, and when he sang, he sat in a chair. We ran through the songs, but we could see it was exhausting him after 6 or 7 songs. We had a bit of chat, but he was really quiet compared with the Ozzy of old." So I didn't even read this morning. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
For him. I mean, it's not fucked up for him to say that, but like to hear that now, like he was really holding it together, it sounds like.
Yeah.
For that show. Ozzy and the other Sabbath members performed 4 songs for more than 40,000 people at Villa Park in the band's original hometown of Birmingham, United Kingdom, and 5.8 million more on live stream. Ozzy also played a 5-song solo set while seated in a bat-adorned throne. The Back to the Beginning concert, which was hosted by actor Jason Momoa, whose passion for heavy metal music runs deep, also featured performances by Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, Tool, Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Mastodon, and Rival Sons. Looking back on Ozzy's performance at Villa Park, Geezer wrote in the Sunday Times article, "Nobody knew he'd be gone from us little more than 2 weeks after the final show, but I'm so grateful we got to play one last time together in front of his beloved fans. The love from the fans and all the band's musicians, singers, and solo artists that night was incredible. Everyone had come to pay homage to the Prince. I'm so privileged to have spent most of my life with him. Of course, there are millions of things I will think of that I should have written, but how can I sum up 57 incredible years of friendship in a few paragraphs? God bless Oz. It has been one hell of a ride. Love you." Ozzy died Tuesday morning, his family announced in a statement. So that's it for the members of Black Sabbath. Actually, I keep taking it down when I have one more slide. It's with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. The family said no cause of death was given, but Osbourne had battled a number of health issues over the past several years, including Parkinson's disease and injuries he sustained from a late night fall in 2019. In his tribute to Ozzy on the day of the singer's death, Geezer wrote on social media, "Goodbye, dear friend. Thanks for all those years. We had some great fun. 4 kids from Aston. Who'd have thought, eh? So glad we got to do it one last time back in Aston. Love you." Formed in Birmingham in 1968, Black Sabbath is widely recognized as one of the most influential heavy metal bands of all time, with a career spanning decades and over 75 million albums sold worldwide, according to the band's website. Their impact on the genre remains as significant today as it was in the early 1970s, with their music shaping generations of metal musicians.
Well, one of the things I want to say that Black Sabbath created a genre all of their own. They you know, it's not like exactly like Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, I remember listening to Stairway to Heaven on the day I told you about the 847 tapes from the Columbia Record Club. I listened to Led Zeppelin 4 that day, and I didn't feel the same way about it. I love Led Zeppelin. Don't get me wrong. But Led Zeppelin is one of those bands that you really had, I felt, for me, I had to sit down and really listen to end up loving.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, from the first chord of the first album and the imagery on the album of the frightening, you know, it's like
it was horror music.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it was just, I always felt like Alice Cooper's music should have been that much harder, like Black Sabbath, you know. But don't get me wrong, Alice Cooper is plenty hard, but Black Sabbath to me completely and utterly summarized what that genre of music was. And nobody else had done there was nothing even close to that. And it was because they played the dark chord, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say too, there are so many incredible Sabbath riffs. Tony Iommi does not get enough credit for just being one of the baddest ass riff writers of all time.
Yeah. Of all time. And there's too many to even name.
Oh, I just said it's crazy too how like it ended up with his finger. Like a lot of the stuff he's playing, you know, how he got it cut off in whatever factory he was working, and he had to have the plastic kind of like fingertips, and I think that's why they play in drop D, right?
Yeah.
If you watch The Last Supper, he really addresses that. The Last Supper is one of my favorite. I love that movie. It's such a great movie, and it's funny now. My God, he was a baby when they recorded The Last Supper, and that was 20 years ago, for God's sakes. But Iommi talks about the day he was walking out of the metal fab shop, he cut the end of those 2 fingers off.
Yeah,
and but I have to say, I would imagine now, I would guess Tony would never want that to happen. However, considering that's so much his sound, you can tell now that that's part of his uniqueness.
I
Is
wonder
him
if he
being able
regrets
to
it.
manipulate those fingertips the way he did. And he had a little Altoid box that he carried around with him, so that when he was playing different songs, he would use different tips. Did you know that?
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
he had pads that felt more like skin. So he would play with those, but then he made 2 fingertips that were hard plastic. So they made a completely different sound when he put his fingers on the strings.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh my God, Tony, nobody thinks, no wonder he was so unique and his sound was so different. Is because he didn't even realize that wasn't a disadvantage. He turned it into an advantage."
Yeah.
And he was right-handed and he was left-handed, which always blew me away too.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
He was left-handed. He plays right. It was his right hand that the fingers got cut off of.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, all my favorite
Yeah, I didn't know
guitarists
that
are
either.
left-handed. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Jimi
he's
Hendrix too.
left-handed. So I just love Sabbath is one of those bands that, what I wanted to say about Ozzy. Let me just say something really quick. My parents died of old age, basically. My father was 82 or 83, smoked cigarettes for 60 years, but lived to 82 years old. My mother was, I think, 78 or 79 when she died. And she never smoked a cigarette, never took a drug, never did anything. Ozzy was 76 and lived the life he lived.
Yeah.
Bro, Keith Richards
not
is still
saying
alive.
that-
Keith Richards is still alive.
That's my point. And sometimes some people have, if Ozzy wouldn't have died, he would have lived to be the world's oldest man. Same with Keith Richards. They would have lived to be like 137.
No, Keith Richards is alive.
I know, that's what I mean. No,
Yeah.
with Keith will probably live. Keith is what? He's got to be 85 now.
Something
And
like
how
that.
is that even possible, right?
Mick Jagger.
And now Ozzy did. Sorry, I know Keith's still alive, but that's my point. Ozzy lived to 76. Keith is still alive, and both of them.
Bro, Keith Richards will be 82 this year.
82. 82. And I guarantee you that if you put all the cocaine into one single place, it would probably fill a dump truck.
So I have a question for you, Max.
Yes.
So do you still owe money to Columbia House?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because one day we got a phone call, and my dad said, "Well, that's interesting. How are you going to collect from him? He's 14." They never called again and quit sending bills. So after that, it was over.
Okay, I was just wondering because sometimes we have odd people that watch, and so I didn't know if anybody from Columbia House was watching. Maybe.
Well, unfortunately, if they're still out there, not only is it Columbia House, I did that to you. I did it to American Records, RCA.
Statute of limitations on that
There was
right now.
There was a
BMG.
whole bunch of people that did that back then.
Bro, records are worth nothing now anyway, so
I know.
I think they would come after you.
Yeah, it's funny, and yet they're still a pretty sought after commodity. I doubt they'll ever.
No, that's true.
away.
Well,
You
we've
know,
been
they-
talking about Dryden and my kids' generations buying vinyl again. So
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's funny that vinyl would come, but there's something magical about, the only thing you don't ever have to worry about is like the resurgence of 8-tracks, because they were such a horrible medium. I mean, anybody who goes through the stories of 8-tracks and understands 8-tracks would never want to go back to them because they were horrible.
even cassette tapes.
Yeah, cassettes were.
Cassette tapes, as much as I have a nostalgia for them, they were shitty too.
They were horrible. Yeah, they were. They did not. The quality was not that great, and so
They get
those things. They're never coming back.
I just I like being able to listen to a full album front to back like the artist intended, but also you you're like supporting them directly in a lot of ways instead of just listening on Spotify. You're like buying it from their website, or even if you buy it at Target, I'm sure they get some of the, the kickbacks from that too.
Well, you certainly want to hope so anyway, don't you?
Yeah, hopefully.
You know what's funny about LPs too is they, because when we grew up, Eric is from that. There's a little bit. The LPs were still around a little bit when you were young, but the thing about LPs is LPs back in the day were like movies are now. That when an LP was released, it was an event. I mean, when an LP came out, like I remember when, for example, when Elton John "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" came out. My God, it was one of those things that nobody could wait for that to come out. I felt the same way about all the Black Sabbath albums. I remember when Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath came out, and when those albums came out, Alice Cooper, Muscle of Love, and $1 Billion Babies. When those albums came out, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, they were such a total package. Like Dark Side of the Moon had a poster in it, and Alice Cooper always did things that made the album such a magic.
Or like Tool.
thing.
Like they always had those cool covers where like the interactive covers, or like this trippy stuff, or like the secret stuff you can only get if you get the vinyl or the record or whatever. So I like that aspect of art too.
The cool part was with Alice Cooper is like when he had the paper panties.
Yes, on School's Out.
School's Out.
Yep.
That was that was the cover. It was like
that was the cover for the inside. Instead of putting plastic on the LP, they put panties on the album.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
On School's Out, on the inside of $1 Billion Babies, it had trading cards of Alice Cooper, and it was the Alice Cooper album cover was a money clip, and Cheech and Chong sold Big Bamboo, and it had a big rolling paper that everybody rolled a joint out of.
I have a Kiss Alive 2 vinyl, and it has like stickers and like tattoos and shit, and like a way to register for the Kiss Army. The Kiss Army is like a mailbox in Canoga Park.
Isn't that crazy?
It's fucking amazing.
It's